Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll talk about whether you should trade only one currency pair or multiple currency pairs. The question I get a lot by email, to comments on YouTube, and I have strategies where I trade only one pair myself. Some I trade more pairs, and I'll kind of talk about the difference between both and whether you can just rely on one single pair with one or more strategies to make a living trading. So, kind of a cool topic. My opinion here might be different from what you hear on YouTube, but I'll give it a try and give you my honest thoughts on this from my own experience, and you can decide if it's worth it or not at the end. Right, so let's start with the benefit and then maybe the cons of trading only one currency pair. First benefit is you're a lot better at recognizing patterns in the market. So if you see a chart that you see every day, the same thing with only one pair, it's a lot faster to look at the chart and see the patterns quickly and kind of get used to how the price on that specific pair moves. That is a huge benefit because some people kind of have different pairs, different things they look at. They don't understand the differences and how it moves. They don't see how volatility changes on some pairs and how it's different on other pairs. And that can be kind of confusing sometimes. If you only trade, say, GBP/USD, then you'll know what the reversals look like. You'll end up seeing kind of that every time price does this, it tends to continue the trend. And that means you're much better at anticipating patterns without necessarily predicting things, but just being able to anticipate and kind of have a good idea of what price will do next. The second benefit is you've got much fewer drawdowns, and they're usually a lot less long than if you trade many pairs. So people don't understand that in Forex there's multiple pairs and that most of these pairs are correlated. If you trade 10 of them, you have some correlations there. Of course, you can reduce your risk and do different things, but when a group of pairs does one thing, the other ones that do something fairly similar. That means that if you trade like 20 pairs and you take multiple trades a day on these pairs, you're gonna have a pretty big drawdown. Because it could be a case where one day you lose all your trades, or even in 1 week you lose more trades. That can create some big drawdown. If you only trade one pair, then that means you're limited to only that pair for drawdowns. Sure, you could take many trades that will lose in a row, but eventually if you understand the pattern well enough, and if you're good enough on that pair, things will start to normalize and you won't have really big drawdowns. That also means less profit perhaps, because if you don't have that diversification of multiple pairs, or if you have days or weeks where no setup for one year pair, then that could be a big issue. But I'm always glad to look for less drawdown, even if it means less profit overall a little bit. Okay, then I think the other big benefit here is that you have a lot less chart time if you only have one pair to trade. And of course, you could be there and sit all day at your charts and trade that one pair. But in general, you don't have to look at the chart all day to trade well. And you don't have to scroll through these pairs or go look at different assets. You don't have to wait for trades on multiple pairs. And that can be a good benefit. Even though you don't need to be waiting a lot on trades or set up your charts to wait for good trades, you can just set alerts. But if you only have one pair to trade, it reduces the time you have to spend placing trades, and it also reduces the time you have to wait for trades. Now, these are good benefits, but I want to mention a few key things that you might not be aware of, a few cons of trading only one pair with your given strategy. The first thing is that you're kind of like limiting yourself a little bit by trading just one pair. You have all these assets, you can look into indices, you can look into commodities, you can look into so many things, Forex pairs. And by only having one pair or only one asset to trade, that kind of limits your upside. Because it could be that this 1 month, the USD, Mexican pesos is like really trending, really strong moving. Then you miss out on the profits because you trade this other pair that's not moving that week or that month. That can be a big issue. Or it could be that you have a really big decline in the S&P, but then you're stuck on like this other instrument, let's say the DAX, that just goes sideways for a while and there's nothing to trade there. So these things could affect you. And a big issue I see with people trading only one pair or one asset is they tend to get bored. And I'm not saying this for like all people, but some people say, okay, I'm only gonna trade one pair, this pair is the one I trade. And a week later, they're like trading a bunch of different things because they get bored, they want to take some trades, they're tired of waiting. And that of course affects their mindset. Now I know there's a fine line here between kind of getting bored, changing pairs, and discipline. Of course, you gotta follow your plan, that's given. But if you're someone who likes to have diversity, likes to trade multiple things, don't listen to a mentor telling you just trade one pair. Focus on what feels right to you and what gives you the best results overall. Understanding better the patterns on one instrument, one pair is definitely a good idea. And the advice I heard a few years back from a really good trader I know is you should always be aware of what every instrument you trade are doing. You should know exactly, like if you trade your USD and these 5 other pairs, you should know what these pairs are doing. You should be clear about what they do. If you're not clear, if you like tend to lose what price these pairs are at, or you tend to lose these patterns, or you don't know if it's trending or sideways or whatever, then that means you trade too many things. And you don't have to trade only one thing, but you can trade multiple things, but it's just not too many, right? In my sweet spot, what I see for traders in general is anywhere from 2 to 5 pairs is usually about the best for them. When they could be on 5, they could do it with trading higher time frames. But in general, try to make it in a way where you understand what each pair you trade is doing. You don't have too much correlation in the pairs and the assets you trade. And overall, you're able to kind of be diversified enough to catch the moves you need to catch in the market with your strategy. So should everyone do it and only stick on one pair? Well, I think it's popular advice from YouTubers and people who talk about trading a lot. And it's a good advice for people who have issues with trading multiple things, who get kind of overwhelmed really quick, who get overwhelmed too quick. It's not a recipe where if you just do this, you'll make money quickly. It's more of a tool that you can use to get better if you have issues with trading multiple pairs. But at the same time, what dictates how many pairs you trade is what results are best for you. Are you having better results trading 5 pairs or trading only 1 pair? That's something you gotta evaluate. And there's nothing wrong, by the way, with only trading 1 pair at first. Then as you get good, you can add something else, then add something else later on, and kind of build that way. Like that's the way you should go about it, is don't get overwhelmed too quick, but don't just like stick to 1 pair, because you can really limit your upside that way if you feel like you can get better results with multiple pairs. So to be fair, I'm not a 1 pair kind of trader. I trade multiple pairs because I've seen my results work better with that. I trade mostly higher time frames, and when I do trade lower time frames, I have a small number of pairs. I never go beyond 4 pairs for day trading. Well, I can just focus on these pairs and like look at the chart quickly on these different assets that I trade. To me, if you don't trade 1 pair and you're good at it, and that helps your results, then go ahead and do it. But I don't feel like I have a big edge from myself trading only 1 pair. Because I take fewer trades, because I look for bigger time frame moves that don't happen every day, that kind of impacts me a lot. But if you are a scalper, someone who goes intraday, has a tough time to look at different assets, that could be something where you can limit your trades by picking only 1 pair to focus on, or just 1 asset. I know plenty of people trading only gold because that's what they like. I don't like gold myself, but go with whatever is the best for you. Again, data is king, so what the data shows you is best for you trading should be what you focus on. If your back tests or if your forward tests show you have a better edge on 1 pair, and that should be something you can stick to and have enough trades on, then go ahead and do that. That's totally cool. Just be aware that you can get bored and that you can have issues with sticking to your plan if you have only 1 pair to trade and there's no trade happening, but that's something you gotta work on. If you do trade 1 pair, let me know in the comment section below what you think and how you do it. I would be curious to hear. Other people can read your comments and get inspired or motivated by it. That would be cool. Once again, I publish these videos here 3 times a week. 1 interview every Sunday. 2 videos in the week where I teach you stuff about trading, my own tips from my own experience. So make sure you subscribe to not miss any of them. And I'll catch you back here in the next video pretty soon. Ciao.